Like a silent movie, the natural world tells its own story. Sometimes it screams and bellows in thunderous power. More often it is through hushed whispers of gentle breezes carrying seeds and sounds and smells. Following wafts of March breezes that dry the prepared earth in its time, both past and before the aging, dying, and decay. This is the time of color and flourish. When darkness retreats, it is making room for the light that is the growing season. I'm Bill Landry. Welcome to Heartland Tonight.
It's the best of the Heartland Series with Bill Landry on Heartland Tonight.
Tennessee is calling, rolling hills all dressed in green. Hear the Heartland calling, like an Appalachian spring. Smoky Mountain night is falling, the Heartland's calling me, calling me.
Each new growing season bursts with energy. You just can't wait to plant something, to get your hands dirty, to turn the earth in a shovel. Watch the seeds sprout, see the flower bloom. It is always new, always thrilling. On Heartland Tonight, we'll experience nature, pure and simple. Listen to the sounds of growing things. We'll visit savage gardens and some wildflower gardens. Tonight, we're taking a beauteous journey, a silent movie, where nature has the microphone and whispers her special song. It's spring when the darkness of winter retreats and the jonquils herald its coming. If you're like me, you need a refresher course in the names of all the wildflowers each season.
The dark season of icy grip lingers long, grimly patient. Finally, an awakening, a restless, urgent overcoming of spring. It reaches even the isolated, distant mountaintops and down into the valleys. Spring, finally, spring with all its various beauties. Light, lightheartedness, rejuvenation. There is anticipation in a fresh turned field. The earth renewed, a spectacle of color. The happy riot expends its color, light, and noise. Days stretch toward languid summer as spring beauties bloom to unwithered memory.
More splendid solitude and nature's quiet beauty when we come back on Heartland Tonight. We're taking it easy tonight, stopping to enjoy the natural world. It is visual candy, quiet pictures that evoke your participation. Let the imagination soar, relax. Keep this thought, no matter how dry it gets, rain's coming.
You're supposed to mind me. Come on.
All right now, when we come back, remember to turn up the sound on your television or use the remote. The natural sounds you'll hear and the pictures you'll see are enough. Don't expect to hear many voices. Watch the colors and compositions of the picture and the light and shadow of Cade's Cove captured by our gifted videographer, Doug Mills, when Heartland Tonight returns. If you listen, every place and every season will whisper special songs, especially Cade's Cove. The sounds you hear are natural. Listen, sounds of growing things.
Look how many's open. Oh, that one over there. Look how many's open.
Heartland Tonight will be right back.
And East Tennessee spring unfolds. The mingling layers of life compel us to linger and look. One man, nearly 75 years ago, was not content simply to look. Arthur Savage manufactured flour and marble mill equipment, but his passion was nature and the outdoors, so he created expansive gardens, 3 of them. The Gatlinburg garden is gone, but we'll visit the 2 that remain today.
This is probably one of the most unusual formations that we have here, kind of a natural bridge.
Nature shaped this garden in Lake City. Savage simply added to it. Huge rocks anchor a sea of wildflowers.
Trout lilies pretty nice in there. Ooh.
Savage provided benches for visitors. The garden was more formal once. It was closed for nearly 30 years until Carl Dew tore away the honeysuckle and rediscovered the garden's beauty.
The garden itself is 42.5 acres, and all this area here has at one time or other, since we have owned it, had cattle turned in the late fall to take out some of the unwanted things like wild honeysuckle and so forth.
A nesting owl calls the garden home. But the wild stayed in Lake City. Savage's Fountain City garden was completely different. At its peak, the Japanese garden flourished with man-made streams and ponds filled with lilies and goldfish. Savage's delight was showing people his elaborate work, a curious contrast to the man's modest home. Savage's fascination with rocks started here.
He, Arthur, and his gardener, Charlie Davis, would go on Sundays to the Smokies and Lake City and bring back a trunkload of rock. Can you imagine all the trips?
Where once had been a pig pen with a sinkhole, Savage planted trees. Today they are the largest of their kind in the state.
He must have had a longer range view than most people have. You plant something with the idea that in 50 years it's at its maturity. So really the garden is probably prettier now in some ways than it was when he was alive.
Where Savage's whimsical arbor once stood has fallen to ruin. But Bill Dome now tends the garden with an eye toward complete restoration.
We had some photographs of the old arbors that used to be here, and we got the wood from the old Standard Knitting Mill factory that's being torn down.
Perhaps one day the goldfish ponds of Arthur Savage's day will be filled again, but only because others share his vision. And 50 years after Arthur Savage's death, his gardens live on.
Hetty Woods of Townsend introduced us to the many and wonderful world of wildflowers long ago. Still, each spring we struggle to recall and relearn each name. It's not exactly that we forget each year, it's just that they always startle us with their beauty out of the grayness. Life reforms itself anew each year and returns.
Hetty Woods' garden is as full of little wonders as the lady herself. She's a former surgical nurse, watercolor artist, rumored winemaker, whose affection for wildflowers began in the woods and fields around Friendsville.
That's where I first saw my first Indian pinks. I fell in love with them. And nature has something going constantly. We're just not aware of it. In the early spring, we get the profusion of flowers at that time. And then we pay very little attention after that because the weeds start growing and they hide some of the prettier things.
On first bursting forth, it's pink and then it turns white.
See how pink the buds are there at first? And then this one here is pure white. It's like my butterfly weed. See, it's all butterfly weed, but it just gets a different, it's all the same color actually, but it's just different hues.
That's a dead resurrection fern, isn't it?
It certainly does look dead, but that's the way it looks until it gets water on it. And it'll be as green and as pretty as anything you ever hope to see. This is the black cohosh, and the Indians called it the candle of the woods because it blooms and stays so long. It stays bloomed for quite a while, and it's so tall.
Hetty collects her wildflowers only from road cuts, building sites, areas that are going to be destroyed.
I try to go where they're going to be endangered. Which makes it very nice. But
Deeper?
Yeah, not too deep, but deep enough. We want enough of dirt with it so we can carry it to its new home without shocking it too much. I'll hold it back so you can see. Oh, that's excellent. Let me get you a paper now. That's excellent. You can dig for me. That is good. That has a real good root. This will never know it's been transplanted. I'll carry the pink, and you take that, and it's not too deep, no.
Early summer, the growing season. The wildflowers are putting forth their roots, making new plants, and preparing their midsummer blooms.
It's a strange looking thing.
This is the Indian pipe. See, it has a curve of just exactly like a Dutchman's pipe, more or less. Isn't it adorable?
Looks like it's got scales. No color.
It has, those are petals. See, they're scaly petals, but it has a beautiful little flower inside. Inside it has little stamens, and little pollen is down inside. You can see it. They're truly beautiful. They have petals just like any other flower, but you have to look so carefully.
It's the second season, and nature's beauties are everywhere. What better way to spend a summer's day than among them? In East Tennessee, wildflowers are what geysers and canyons are to other areas. Each is a little wonder, though often ignored. But each one holds a universe of beauty, an offering of joy for anyone to see.
It's a natural symphony that nature sings. It's nice to stop occasionally and listen. It's not just nice, it's necessary. See you next week on Heartland Tonight.